Naruto. Yay, we're talking about this one. Just to start off with, I'll say this much. Out of the three big name animes, not including Dragon Ball Kai or Pokemon, like the three big ones, like the ones that have been going on since like what, 1999 or so, which all three happen to be like inspired from Dragon Ball. Anyway, out of those three, and what I mean by that is like Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach, I like Naruto the best, probably because it's the closest thing to Dragon Ball. I mean, it's in a time period that doesn't really have a specific date or name. It's martial arts based, even though it does come off as like a ninja anime. It's really not. It's really a martial arts anime. And, it's, just fun to watch. I remember, watching it, on Cartoon Network when it would come on, and it was just fun to watch. I got into this anime a long time ago when I first saw like some of the manga and like Shonen Jump. I kind of got into like manga a little bit, and I started reading Shonen Jump. I recently canceled that because, not really my thing anymore. But so I was like, oh, okay. And then, I heard about the anime, and I don't really remember too much of how I got into the series. I think I just sort of got into it. And, I, of course, compared Naruto to Dragon Ball Z. I think even Naruto was inspired, like his design was inspired off of Super Saiyan Goku. And of course, he doesn't look completely like Goku, but, the whole orange and blue with his clothes and the yellow hair that's spiked up. I mean, how can you not compare that to, Goku just visually? Anyway, it was pretty good. My favorite character would have to be Sasuke, the anti-hero. I really hope he turns good, by the way. I don't know that much about Naruto. I do try to keep up every now and then, but I really hope he turns good. He seems like he's like the Zuko or the Vegeta of Naruto, where he's like, appears in like one role and then like he goes like evil and then like, but he's really just confused and questioned. He really has no other reason to be evil. His brother's dead. Anyway, for what I think of the series, it's pretty good. It's interesting. The fighting's nice. I haven't seen too many episodes. A lot of people would probably criticize it for being, complete filler. But, we're not really complete filler, but mostly filler. But, that kind of adds, to the story. It's interesting, I don't really particularly mind filler. It's only after I figure out what's filler and what's not that it probably would kind of get on my nerves. I'm not entirely sure if I could watch Dragon Ball Z again. I mean, I'll definitely try. But now that I know and especially in Dragon Ball, when I know what's filler and what's not. But, Yeah, and my friend showed me the big Naruto and Sasuke fight. That was pretty interesting. And he liked it because it was intense, but not Dragon Ball intense, where everyone's just moving really fast. It was like brutal, like what they were doing to each other. I'm thinking, these are guys like 12 or 13 years old, They're like beating the crap out of each other. And to be honest, even though Sasuke is my favorite character, he's sort of a jerk, to be honest. I've always wanted Naruto to just beat the crap out of him, just like smack him to like friggin' booty hole-ism, I don't know. Just like take a dump on him or something. And of course, Naruto being, the big fighting martial arts anime, there are probably going to be several characters who seem stronger than him, but then Naruto either goes off and trains, or, just, I don't know, comes back and gets stronger. Sort of like how with Bleach, there's the whole plot Kai thing going on. One Piece, I don't even think anyone even gets any stronger. They just fight. Dragon Ball Z, they train, or they spar before their fights. Well, Naruto, it seems like he loses his fight, then he goes off to train, then he comes back. That's literally how I feel like. I feel like he keeps going back and forth between masters, and it's like, meh. He might as well just. I wouldn't be surprised if like they made him become Hokage at the very end. Yet at the same time, I also wouldn't be surprised if it's like they offer him. He's like, "You are now Hokage," and then he's like, "Sorry, but I don't want to be Hokage anymore." "Why not, Naruto?" "Because I have seen the meaning of life," or something like that. That's my bad imitation of Naruto. I could probably do a better one. "Hi, I'm Naruto." I don't know. Yeah, Naruto's probably best suited for a girl. I mean, if they wanted to, I think for Shippuden they probably could have given him a older voice, but then that would kind of be changing the character a little bit too much. Anyway, the show's not that bad. I almost look at Naruto as being, Dragon Ball. And with that said, moving on to Shippuden, I do also look at Shippuden as being Dragon Ball Z. And here's the funny thing, it's literally the exact same situation. Except Naruto is literally the modern day Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball. In the manga, it's just Naruto. The entire thing is just Naruto. Just like how, for the manga, or at least in Japan, the manga was just Dragon Ball. It wasn't until the American release that they started using Z, and that's still only for the American release, probably even for the European release as well. But the anime has like two different ones, and both of them have both series have their big filler. And the funny thing is, I think Naruto even has a Kai version. It's like Naruto Shohekai or something, or Shonen or something, where they use like a new opening theme song and closing theme song. It's not really, I don't think it's really HD. I think they just sort of put the little bar things on them or something. I think it's like the exact same film as well, or film masters, I guess. I don't even think there's no re-recorded dialogue. I think the only thing with it is it might even just be a rerun. Maybe I'm just confusing myself. But I heard that it's big and whatnot, or I don't know. Is anyone even watching that? It seems like Shippuden's sort of the big thing, and of course, like Dragon Ball Kai, the dub of it is not on Cartoon Network. It's actually on Disney XD or whatever, while Dragon Ball's on Nicktoons. I wouldn't be surprised though if down the line, after these series are done, they get a less edited version broadcast on Cartoon Network. Of course, at that point, we'll all have the DVDs, and it won't even matter because all the series will be over. And who knows? Maybe they'll start be doing Dragon Ball Kai and Dragon Ball GT Kai, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, like I've mentioned before, I don't really know too much about the story, though I try to keep up as much as I can. Aren't they doing the whole Pain thing right now? Aren't they working on Pain or something? I'm not entirely sure. I think isn't he sort of the big bad guy right now? And I understand that Naruto, last year celebrated its 10 year anniversary. That was kind of cool. I'm kind of waiting for all these freaking shows to end. I feel like One Piece and Bleach or Naruto should probably end. That way I can finally, start collecting them. Because I kind of want to collect Naruto when it's done. That way, I won't have to, keep buying more and more DVDs and spending more and more money. I'd rather just buy them one by one when the entire series is over. I don't even care if they do a Dragon Box thing where it's 60 or 70 or $80, but it's a ton of episodes compiled into one big thing. That would actually be kind of cool. Not gonna lie, that would actually be kind of cool. But who knows? And maybe they'll do a Naruto Kai a good 20 or so years after the show's been over, and of course Dragon Ball Z will be completely done by then, I'm sure. Or who knows, maybe they'll be working on stuff, I don't know. But yeah, voice actors. Of course y'all have seen the standard California voice actors. When it comes to American or English-speaking voice actors, I categorize them based on where they're located. The Ocean dub is Canada. There's the Funimation and the Sentai Filmworks, which is Texas. And then there's media everywhere else, I think, which is California. And Sasuke, is voiced by Yuri Lowenthal. Interesting thing though is that in the Japanese version, he's voiced by Noriaki Sugiyama, who not only does Shiro from Fate Stay Night, but also does Uryu from Bleach, and that's kind of cool. And Sasori was Takahiro Sakurai, which is awesome, and Garo was Akira Ishida, who is friggin' Reed from Tales of Eternia. That's awesome. And of course, his English version is Liam O'Brien. I don't know who does Sasori. Isn't it Paul St. Peter or something? Seems like they're pulling out like a lot of random voice actors that I've never even heard about. Like, I don't think I had ever heard Dave Wittenberg until I heard Kakashi. And of course, Kate Higgins does friggin' Sakura, which is a voice that, sort of new to her, seductive. C2 or any other voice, and Johnny Young Bosch has like one role. I heard about how he auditioned for everybody and then came back and like auditioned for that one dude. Naruto's voice actor, Mayo Flanagan, I have never even heard of. I think she does a good job though. I really think she matches the Japanese perfectly. There's probably a slight pitch difference, but yeah. This show, not that bad, not gonna lie, not that bad. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about Naruto. I hope this one wasn't too long. But yeah, see you guys later.